Connor, would you comment on this question, I guess? After looking at Ohio State now closely, how different is this defense from last year's defense?
It's a little different, just depending on the coverages. Last year there were a lot more, man coverage, I feel. Middle field close a lot, cover 3 and cover 6, and this year you see a lot more middle open. But really that's the main difference. I think last year they kind of mixed it up a little bit with the fronts, trying to go odd fronts here and there. But, this year I think you see more 4-man front, 4-3 pretty much. But there's just a couple differences, nothing really too major, pretty much just the coverages. That's what I would say. Yeah, I think their defensive line is very, very good. They got great linebackers, guys that are active, guys that are fast, and they got guys that are pretty experienced in the secondary as well. So it's a good defense.
This question is for Connor. Connor, you talked a couple weeks ago about understanding what the Michigan rivalry meant to your teammates because you got to play Ohio State and experienced it. This week emotionally, what's it like for you?
It's a little emotional. Obviously being from Ohio, everyone that I go to high school with, goes to Ohio State, roots for Ohio State. Guys that me growing up, guys that I went to elementary school with, this and that. It's not divided like Michigan is. In Michigan you grow up, you're either blue or you're green. Ohio State, or in Ohio, you grow up, you're a Buckeye fan. So, it's emotional, but just treating it like any other game. It's just another opponent, obviously a great opponent, but not trying to get too emotional or too caught up in it.
Taiwan, I'm going to ask about what differences you see with JT Barrett this year as opposed to Braxton Miller. Are they similar, or how is this offense different with Barrett now running it?
A little bit similar. I feel like with this offense, JT Barrett works better in this offense. I feel like he has a better arm. He's a way better quarterback than Braxton. But I feel like it's a big challenge for us, and we're actually looking forward to it and working this week in order for us to be successful against this offense.
Connor, what's the communication like with your friends back home? Are they texting you, talking trash a little bit to you? And maybe last year, too, what did they say after you guys won that game?
Everything's friendly. I have some friends that go to Ohio State, that I went to high school with that are, my best friends from high school. And they're, obviously fully supporting, fully supportive of me, wishing me good luck. Obviously, I think they might be coming to the game, too, actually. And they'll be wearing Michigan State stuff. But everyone that I've known from back home that I have relationships with, they're all supportive. No one's talking any trash. It's all friendly.
One other thing, do you have a moment from last year's game that stands out that you remember more than anything else? And if maybe it's the very end of the game, I don't know, but do you have one that stands out?
Probably the end of the game, just taking that knee.
For both players, Connor and Taiwan, obviously, Big Ten title implications in Saturday's game, but of course the national playoff is still in the mix, and I know you can't concern yourself with that. But does that seep into your mind at all, the scope of this game, the size of the game, ESPN game day here and everything else, and how do you not let that get too big?
I actually feel like we have to make it get that big, with both of us being one-loss teams and, both of us competing to be in the playoffs. I feel like, this big stage is, pretty, it's a big step for both of us. It shows, we can play, both of us can play good football, and, the team that comes out on top is, pretty much going to be one of the best teams in the Big Ten coming out of the Big Ten Conference. So I feel like that can help us, moving on to the next step of our season.
Yeah, I think for us as a team, I think all of us individually, I think that's why we come to a school like Michigan State to play in games like this. To be on a stage, with the implications on the line. It's not, I think Coach G always talks about with pressure and stuff, pressure is good. Stress is bad, and I think Coach G does a great job with, getting our minds right for the game so we're not stressed out or anything, and we're just, ready to go out there no matter what the stage is, no matter who the opponent is, that we go out there and we're ready to play. And I think, too, the coaches do a good job in obviously getting our minds right for the game, but then obviously getting our minds away from the playoff stuff or whatever's going on outside. I really don't think that we pay that close attention to that kind of stuff, and we just focus on the stuff that we can control, and that's, preparing our butts off each and every week and getting ourselves ready to play.
For both you guys, same kind of question. The media likes to label Saturday Elimination Saturday. This is an elimination game. What does that mean to you, or do you even buy that?
What it means to me is that we just got to go 1-0. Just like any other game. I feel like no matter who the opponent is, once you start conference play, once you start Big Ten play, every single game is a championship game pretty much. Because if you lose, then you're done. So this is going to be just like the Purdue game, just like the Indiana game. If we would have lost to Purdue, then we wouldn't even be talking about this. So it's just like any other Big Ten game. I know it sounds cliche, but truly that's how we look at it.
Hey, I agree with Connor. We feel like, I personally feel like the playoff system starts, this weekend. Like he said, it's a one-game elimination. Whoever loses, not really going to have one of the best chances in moving into those playoffs. So we, take it one game at a time and continue working towards our goals.
And also, I don't know if you guys could recall, both of you guys, in that Oregon game, you played one of the best stretches of football this season, over a 20-minute span, I think it was 5 3-and-outs. You went from 18-7 down to 25-18 up. From both, do you remember that? And from both sides of the ball, how do you recall how that stretch went?
On defense, I feel like we just need to finish. Coach Narduzzi always says, that game we played, a total of 40 minutes of football. We need to play 60. So we need to finish games. That's what we've been working on a lot lately, is being able to finish games, because at the end of the day, that's how you win a game. It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah, I think just like Taiwan said, it's looking back, we had a great first half, not so great second half. The stuff that we showed in the first half, going against a great opponent in Oregon, a great defense in a hostile environment, it shows what we're capable of doing. So, the second half didn't go the way we wanted it to. But the main thing that just sticks out in that game is just, you got to be able to finish. And I think that's what we've been, priding ourselves on and emphasizing this year is finishing.
Other questions for Juan or Connor? Question is for Twan. Can you talk about how the Ohio State offense looks different from a schematic standpoint than it did a year ago?
It's not really that different. They try to, make it a little bit more simpler for JT Barrett at the beginning, but, he's starting to pick it up a lot now. And, they have, of course, different running back, different O-line, different positions that they had to, guys had to step up in. So, it's a little bit different, but it's pretty much just the same things that we've been seeing for the past 3 years since we've been playing them.
Twan, can you expand a little bit? You said earlier that Barrett's a better quarterback than Miller. You say better passer, better all-around quarterback. How would you compare those two as runners and as passers? And do they do as much with Barrett as they did?
As an athlete, I feel like Braxton Miller was better. But as a quarterback that can fit in that offense, with Urban Meyer, he fits really well. Kind of like when Tim Tebow was at Florida with Urban Meyer, he fits better for that offense. And I feel like he can control the game a lot better. It's up to us to not let him control the game, let us control the game.
Connor, back here on your right, I'm wondering if you could just kind of address how this rivalry between Michigan State and Ohio State has kind of evolved through the past few years, and also what it means, its importance to the Big Ten as a conference, and kind of the level of football that these two teams have played with consistently.
Yeah, I think going back to 2011, we played them at their place. It was a tight game. We came out, victorious in the end, and then, the next year, lost by 1 point, and then the following year, which was last year, another tight game down to the wire. It's a friendly rivalry. We respect them. They respect us. But, it's kind of, growing. It's been growing over the past couple of years, and it's just a competitive rivalry. And what it does for the Big Ten is, just people see that. Outside, people from other conferences see, the tight games that we have against Ohio State and the passion and the energy that comes with this game, and I think it just does a great job putting the Big Ten on the map with people just, seeing how hard that we play, against top teams in the country. I think we're both top 10 teams, or Ohio State, whatever they're ranked, but, there's two great teams going at it.
When you say growing, do you mean like maybe hate? Is it starting to get kind of venomous like that? I mean, most rivalries are kind of founded on that.
Yeah.
That makes it exciting?
I mean, you could say that. I mean, we'll see what goes down on Saturday, if there's any pushing or shoving or whatever. I know I respect Ohio State. I have some guys that I know on that football team that are nice guys and that, I've known growing up. But, I wouldn't compare it to a Michigan rivalry at all. I think it's a competitive rivalry. Because me, I respect Ohio State. I have no disrespect to them whatsoever. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens if they're going to talk trash or whatever. But I know us as a football team here at Michigan State, we respect them.
This question's for both players with regard to Coach Meyer's opinion on the game. He said that to call this a rivalry would be to diminish the rivalry that Ohio State has with Michigan, and yet, Connor, you spoke comfortably about this being a rivalry. What are your thoughts about having more than one rival? And then, Twan, if you can talk about the Ohio State game, if it feels like a rivalry to you.
Yeah, I think, rivalry games are, there's always more energy. Like I said, for the Michigan game, the hits are bigger. There's just the energy is a little bit higher. There's more passion, stuff like that. So anytime you have, more than one rivalry game, things are going to get emotional. Things are going to get, pretty hectic. So I think it just, you have more rivalry games. You have, better games to watch. I think rivalry games are entertaining, a lot of fun to watch.
I think, we treat it as a rivalry game because we have a lot of guys on our team who's from Ohio who, take this personally because, some guys on the team, as they get up before the game and when they talk to us, they say, Ohio State said they weren't good enough. Ohio State never recruited them. And, a lot of guys that want to prove themselves. And, like Connor said, you can always have more than one rivalry dating back to my freshman year in 2011 when Wisconsin began to be our rivalry after, the Hail Mary, then the Big Ten championship, and then the overtime win. So I feel like, you can always have more than one rivalry, and regardless if they think it's a rivalry or not, we're going to treat it like it's one.
Connor over here. Yes, you and Ohio State are both averaging right around 45 points a game this season. We don't necessarily see too many offensive shootouts back and forth in the Big Ten. Is the prospect of a game like that a little bit exciting to you, or does it put a little bit more pressure on the offense?
I wouldn't say it puts pressure on our offense, but I think definitely we're looking forward to it. Anytime you have offenses that are averaging those kind of points and are capable of doing what they've shown in the past, it's just going to call for a good game. So I think we're looking forward to it. I think Ohio State's looking forward to it. It's going to be a great atmosphere in Spartan Stadium at night. Game day is going to be there, so I wouldn't say that there's really no added pressure. It's just I think guys on our team are just looking forward to it, and it's going to be a great time.
Kind of refresh my memory. I thought you said on one of the other night games you love the atmosphere, but you hate the wait. 8 o'clock game, biggest game of the year. What happens to you on Saturday? Do you nap? Do you go to meetings? Do you watch football? And how gut-wrenching is that to wait for a game like this?
Yeah, the atmosphere is great. Playing at night, Spartan Stadium, it's a special place at night, and the atmosphere is great and it's a great time. But just the anticipation, the waiting all day, is what gets to me. And I just try and we have like a 4-hour span. I'll lay down and try and fall asleep. Other than that, we have meetings. We're watching tape. Really don't try and watch any football. Just try and get my mind right and focus on things that I need to focus on for the game. But this night games, just the anticipation is what I don't like. But once it's game time, then it's fun.